The meeting today here in Hamburg between President Trump and Vladimir Putin will naturally raise questions about how each side handle it and what it means for future relations. One thing that did not come up, at least as far as we are told, is human rights. I want to take a minute to go back to something that we just heard from Vladimir Kara-Murza, the human rights activist who was poisoned twice. He said, and I quote, that there seems, for some reason, to be an extremely high mortality rate among independent journalists and political opponents of Mr. Putin over the last 17 years. And there has been. But in almost each case, there is no conclusive evidence that these people were killed by the Russian government. Sometimes it isn't even clear if they were murdered or died of natural causes. The only thing we do know is that Putin's enemies have a way of turning up dead, and that evidence has a way of being meticulously covered up. So we thought we'd take a moment to remind ourselves of that body count. Like Anna Politkovskaya, the investigative journalist who wouldn't stop, despite death threats, despite being poisoned, digging into Putin's misdeeds. Shot to death as she was getting on the elevator of her building. Or Alexander Litvinenko, the Russian spy who defected and became a valuable source on how the Russian intelligence services operate, poisoned by radioactive material slipped into his tea at a meeting in London. And of course, Boris Nemtsov, the fiery leader of the opposition in Russia, shot 5 times in the back, right in front of the Kremlin. But these are just the famous ones. According to research by British journalist Sarah Hurst, in just the last 3 years, more than 40 people, critics, untrustworthy insiders, and those who just knew too much about what happens inside the Kremlin, have been murdered or died in mysterious circumstances. The radiation expert who supposedly stabbed himself. The member of parliament who slipped in the bath. The Scottish property developer suspected of laundering the dirty money of wealthy Russians who fell from the 4th floor of his building. 12 were critics, including several journalists. 7 were diplomats, 2 of whom died while stationed in the States. 2 of them were senior members of the Russian anti-doping agency, which was allegedly involved in a state-sponsored doping program for Russian athletes. And 2, a general from the intelligence service and a businessman who died in a New York hospital, may have been sources for leaks about the alleged ties between the Kremlin and the Trump campaign. Most of the murders are unsolved. Many of the deaths are attributed to natural causes. But when you put the whole list together, it's hard to ignore the pattern. And that's what makes Alexei Navalny, the most prominent surviving leader of the Russian opposition, so impressive. He has seen time and time again what happens to Putin's critics, and yet he won't stop fighting. Navalny was released from prison today after 25 days. That's welcome news for his followers who've been willing to take to the streets when he puts out the call. That's next.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.